Hey guys, Matt Dog here with another video. This time we're doing the Doomking version of Eldlich, going up against Vaalmonica. I remember this wasn't a super interesting duel in terms of like what they're able to do, but it's a great example of showing how we were able to get our turn set up really easily. So we're always throwing in different packages. In this case, what Doomking allows you to do is because there's so few monsters in your deck, you can go back to running Reasoning, which is just such an awesome card. Like the Horus Engine, the Diabellstar package. They have too many monsters for you to justify also running Reasoning. But you only need two monsters to run the Doomking package, and they get you a lot more value off of sending cards to the grave. So obviously we have the Doomking. We got a couple of rollbacks in the grave. We'll use one to copy an Eldlixir to summon out an Eldlich. And we also we got traps from both sides of the Eldlich engine. So we have a non-targeting banish. And really important, we could summon any zombie from our deck. And since we already controlled Eldlich, we could summon something other than Eldlich. In this case, we summoned the Necroworld Banshee, so she's able to activate our zombie world from the deck, and now anytime they activate a monster, because it's now considered a zombie, the Doomking can activate one of its two effects to either banish a monster or negate its effect. In this case, they just surrender. My guess is it's because because Zombie World also turns all their monsters into zombies, it like stopped their turn from happening. Like, it is kind of a floodgate. It's not as a big of a floodgate in the current meta, but it's a very strong floodgate against Tearlements. Against Tearlements, Zombie World turns all of their monsters in the grave into zombies as well, and a lot of their fusion monsters require them to use like an aqua as material. Because they only have zombies, then they can't fuse anymore. This time we're going second though. We're back to using the gold field because it looks very Eldlich-like, and I still like the music. Alright, so not a very impressive turn one. Yikes, so we have multiple Eldliches and a Doomking in hand. Not the best starting hand from our perspective either. But that's what's nice, is even if you only have a few usable cards, Karma Cannon is so powerful, Trap Trick can go into anything you need. Alright, what are they going to do? They fused once. Okay. Yeah, so you notice how it needs an Aqua monster. Okay, keep going. Alright, no Ash Blossoms, you can send a rollback. We do not want them to make a Baronne de Fleur. They can Super Poly, though. Okay, so they do get to make the Rue Kalos, and they get to activate a couple graveyard effects. So that was really good. They were able to play around that Karma Cannon really well. Kaleido Heart, who's he going to target? And a Shuffler. Okay, so that turns off our ability to use rollback. So in that case, we Trap Tricked into an evenly matched. If he attacks us, we don't care. We'll just evenly match banish everything. We had a lot of resources in the grave. He probably could have still made plays because he had the Shuffler, but he just didn't want that smoke. All right, duel number 3 versus... Oh, this is like... Oh, Pendulum. Okay, Pendulum deck. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the Doomking package. Some of the duels end up grinding out a lot longer, but you always feel like you have a winning chance when you're going into them as well. And it just feels so good to keep resolving Reasoning. Like, I want to try to find ways to make my other decks, like Horus and Toybox, still be able to use Reasoning, just because it's such a good card. But honestly, having more than like 5 monsters in your deck is kind of pushing it in terms of like getting value off of it. Okay, we're really counting on those super polys. Okay, beyond the Pendulum. What are they gonna do? Yeah, so normally the Doomking package is just 4 cards. Obviously, I'll cover that at the end of the video. But I consider Super Poly kind of a staple of the Zombie World package, which makes it a 7-card package. Okay. So, Predaplant Verte on Conda, he can copy this monster's effect. It doesn't really have an effect we care about. It was more just to bait them into activating a monster, which they do. Okay. So they summon Supreme King Zarp. What's his effect? Cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it cannot be targeted, and destroys all cards your opponent controls. Yikes. A card that destroys all cards your opponent controls? That's pretty busted. Okay, they did activate a monster effect, so we could just set a trap trick, which allows us to have a lot of flexibility. They don't know what to expect. Yeah, look at this. They activated a card that said destroy all cards your opponent controls. We didn't negate it or anything. We just built this board anyways. Oh my god. Okay, so what's he gonna do? Pendulum summons, activates that effect. Okay, alright. Card Cannon, yeah, 4 monsters, that's fine. Alright, end phase. Summon it on Eldlich, sure, why not? Send a rollback. What do we have in grave right now? We have a rollback and nothing else really important. Slash draw. Okay, at this point I was still running slash draw. I think I've determined that it really is a going second card. So, like, yeah, we just trap trick into a Paleozoic Marrella, copy Elemental Burst, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Doesn't feel so good, does it? Yeah, so unless your deck is a dedicated going second mill deck, I'm not so convinced about slash draw. Okay, I don't think we can kill them. What do we have? Do we have any more rollbacks? No. Okay, so we really do just have this Conquistador. And in this case, I don't think Zombieworld Floodgate effect is really hurting them at all. Here, I decide to destroy this, because otherwise they had a 1 and an 8, so they would have been able to Pendulum Summon. Oh, I want to point this out. When your Dark Spellcaster battles, you can increase its attack, so it's possible he thought he'd be able to attack this card, and it would gain 18, like, whatever, the amount of attack. But because it's a zombie and not a spellcaster, it doesn't do that. It still has this effect that allows it to grab that 8 Pendulum, and they can still Pendulum Summon. I feel like I could have Pendulum Summoned more. I do not understand how Pendulum Summoning works. Okay, like it's a 1 and an 8. Can't summon all the ones between 1 and 8? Whatever. Cursed Eldland is fine. Another ton targeting destroy. The Blacklister Soldier. Yeah, we want to banish this because it has a bunch of effects when it gets destroyed. Summon out another Eldlich. I don't think we'll even care. I think we can just kill them. Yep, Blacklister Soldier, banish. They add that back to the hand, but we don't care. It's a couple of level 8s. Easy money. Yeah, I love Blackluster Soldier, dude. Especially at this deck where we just frequently have enough material to make him, and making anything else would be kind of awkward. Okay. Number 4. Ice Barriers. Okay. Yeah, okay, so Ice Barriers is like a synchro deck. I just want to quickly look. 1 Aqua-type monster. Okay, so that would be stopped by Zombieworld. No, not affected, not affected, not affected, not affected, not affected, not affected. Water Tuner, it doesn't change the attribute. Okay, so not affected. Okay, yeah, because there's gets to a point in this duel where I have Zombieworld up, and they sat there for a really long time, so I thought it was like stopping them from being able to make synchro plays, but I think they were just like thinking or filling up their cup of water or something like that. Okay. Going first. Yeah, Triple Tactics Talent is such a aggravating card. I think this is the duel where I just have it in my hand like the whole time, and I can never get them to activate a monster effect during the during my main phase, so I swap it out for a different card. But when you can activate it, it's great. Okay, so we have a rollback engrave, so we can use Paleozoic Marrella to send an Elemental Burst to blow up all of their cards. Sure. Oh, this was really awkward. Okay, so I wanted to blow up all 3 cards that they had, but I had my little toggle set to auto instead of on, which then passed priority back to them. You always have to have your toggle set to on. I don't all the time because it's like, I don't know, mistake that I make too often. He activates Max C. Yeah. I don't know how I win this duel. I mean, I made mistakes. So he chose not to destroy my Conquistador there. And I guess he only summoned 1 time from the extra deck, because otherwise I should have been able to make Typhon. But I guess not. Whatever, Eldlich is able to send him to grave, even though he's just protected from destruction. 3,500, not bad. Still not activating any monster effects. Would have been nice if he activated a Max C on my turn. Whatever. I mean, I should have, like, waited to try to bait it out on my next turn, but it is what it is. I don't think we have any interruptions, do we? Well, a little bit. Okay, so because we have an Eldlich on the field, we can summon out Necroworld Banshee. So this is kind of my only hope, is that I could somehow floodgate them, but I don't think it actually does that. Again, I didn't really understand this deck or what kind of cards they usually have in their extra deck. They are locked into summoning only certain types of synchro monsters, I think like water synchro monsters, so they can't make a Baron de Fleur or anything. They do destroy the zombie world, but it wasn't really doing anything. And this can non-targeting banish 3 cards. Yikes. We did have a Paleozoic Marrella, which is unaffected by our opponent's monster effects when it gets special summoned. Come on, man, activate a monster effect, please. Please, I'm begging. Nope. Okay. Well, we do have Torrential Tribute, which is a wonderful card, gives you a ton of advantage. That's what's lovely, is like you have a bunch of these traps where you just activate one trap and your opponent's been doing a ton of stuff and it doesn't matter. Alright, 6 cards. I feel like that's pretty good value. They do have a couple of effects to recur when they get destroyed, but whatever. They summon out Trishula, but it doesn't count as a summon. They just do not like attacking my cards, sending them to grave and activating effects. Alright, surely they're going to synchro summon or summon from the extra deck more than twice this turn, right? Surely. No, I guess I still can't make Typhon for some reason. Maybe they're doing something that locks me out of my extra deck. Or maybe when they summoned that Trishula, it didn't count as getting summoned. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I spend a while cooking with these decks, but I don't always understand what they're doing. So we finally get to discard, so we get at least a minor amount of value. Muddragon. They're probably going to banish Conquistador because it has a grave effect, but we do still have a Muddragon. Okay. Can't be targeted. Protect our life points. Oh my gosh, I don't know how we're... A lot of tough duels here, but, we're still in the game. Okay. Just destroy it. We have a Karma Cannon. This is like a game winner, right? Like, they could do whatever they want. We're just gonna end their turn again. And they just surrender. Yeah, they just don't have the gas to come to defeat us. That kind of happens a decent amount. Our deck has a lot of gas. Every card we top deck is like a GG auto win. Ooh, Voiceless Voice. Yeah, I tried running Witch's Strike in this deck for a while, but like I just wasn't running into decks that have Omni Negates as much. I thought Voiceless Voice would be bigger. Oh, whatever. Maybe when the level 10 card with an Omni Negate comes out and Yubel starts using it all the time, then Witch's Strike will finally be back on the menu. I don't know, we'll see. Copy of Traptantalizing Tune and Evenly Matched. We do have a Necroworld Banshee in hand. I don't think they're going to summon from the extra deck very much, so they're probably not going to make Zeus. Listen to that beautiful music. Oh, great. Okay. So, this is kind of a personal preference. Do you want to use Evenly Matched first, or do you want to use Feather Duster first? It's like I want to definitely resolve one of them, but I wasn't sure how to bait out the Omni Negate. Draw 2? Nice. Okay, so that Pot of Extrav is kind of worthless, but whatever. They summon Saraeus, which is basically Solemn Warning. If we would special summon and they can destroy it. Okay. Grass. Alright. We got a rollback. We got some Eldlich cards. We got Karma Cannon. No Elemental Burst, unfortunately. But we get to send the Omni Negate to grave. Alright, recycle one of our Eldlixirs. That's lovely. Okay, Cursed Eldland to get the other half of our Eldlich rolling. They do get one draw, unfortunately. So we can use this to summon out the Doomking, and then we'll get a non-targeting banish and a destroy every turn. The Light Charmer. Okay, yeah. Summon out the Eldlich, or the Doomking. So the Light Charmer's effect says that it has to summon to a card where it points to. So we just use the Doomking to chain, banish it, and then there's no link for it to point to anymore. So we still negate the effect of Diviner. I don't want them summoning cards. Or sending Herald to get their ritual spells online. He destroys our Doomking, but he just surrenders there because he knows the Doomking's going to come back on my next standby phase. Like, the Doomking just gives you tons of value once you actually have the setup rolling. Alright, what is that? Duel number... That was duel number 5. Okay, duel number 6. Against Yubel. I think, like, the last couple of duels are against Yubel. 3, 4... So I think it's this one, right? Yep. The OCD. Okay. Yeah, or ADHD, I guess is probably more the correct term. Yubel. Our deck is really good against Yubel, obviously. Their continuous spell does not protect them from destruction the same way that Horus does. So here I have Foolish Barrel Goods, and I can actually use that to unclog my hand a bit, get rid of an Elemental Burst. Now, Marrella can send a rollback to get the Elemental Burst going. Eldlixir can turn everything into zombies. They set a couple cards. I don't really know what they are. We'll just blow them up. Okay, so they had a Super Poly. They have a Max C. We don't care about one draw, that's fine. Ooh, Grass, you'll love to see it. If they had Dash Plus, we have a Solemn Strike. And I saw a Necroworld Banshee in there. Alright. Nice. So now we have a non-targeting Destroy. The Doom King's going to be coming out every turn with a non-targeting Banish and a non-targeting Negate. Can't be destroyed by battle, unfortunately. We'll just burn him for 2k, and because he's considered a zombie, us activating that effect means that we can chain. So, something important, the Doom King's effect does not target, and we don't even have to choose which one we want to use. So in that case, he got off the field and made this level 12, but we just non-targeting banished it before it even had the chance to activate its effect. Now he Link Summon into SP Little Knight, banish that card in the grave, and the Doom King's going to come back next turn, and we can banish that to set another Eldlixir. So yeah, we're totally in command here. Doom King, and they surrender. Yeah, that's the thing, is once you have the Doom King setup going, it's really hard for your opponent to get over it. Okay, duel number 7? Okay, against another Yubel deck. Yeah, I think a lot of these. There's one Labrynth deck, and there was a whole bunch of Yubels back to back to back. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I guess it is considered the new top deck. It's higher on the tier lists than even Fire King Snake Eye. Okay. Grab an Eldlich. Get the rollback engrave. Yeah, in this case, we are going to sacrifice one of our Trap Tricks. Trap Trick is kind of once per turn. If we knew for sure we could survive a few turns, I wouldn't have done that, but in this case, it's worth getting a rollback engrave. We have our Trap Trick. We can summon out the Banshee to get some sort of floodgate going. I think Yubel is affected somewhat by the field spell, because they have a lot of cards that are you can special summon a Fiend monster, but if it's considered a zombie monster, then you're kind of out of it. Yeah, there I kind of wasted my negates, I did multiple torrentials to blow up their cards. This is definitely really important because a lot of their Yubel cards are level 10, so they need some way to special summon, so it's really good to destroy. I probably should have just summoned out Necroworld Banshee right away, though, to get that floodgate online. Okay. Send a rollback. Thank you. In this case, I'm going to wait until next turn, because then I can use it as link material. Dark Charmer. I was pretty sure this was an Imperm. They just had an Effect Veiler instead, but whatever. Alright. A little bit of damage. Necroworld Banshee. Nice. Yeah, I didn't have a way to get an Eldlich on the field, so I might as well just get him on anyways. This maybe get an interruption. I thought this was an Imperm. I thought for sure they were going to try to negate my SP, but whatever, now they have a harder time summoning anymore. Doom King comes out. Thank you. Alright, they don't instantly surrender. Alright, now how are they going to respond? Okay. They don't have the continuous spell yet. An SP Little Knight. Doom King is going to negate that. So they banish the Doom King, but it's he just is going to come back on the end phase, and we already negated SP's effect, so yeah, GG. So yeah, so you're kind of seeing, once the Doom King in the Zombieworld engine comes out, you're set, and we have a ton of ways to make it easy to summon. Oh yeah, this was, I had a fun play against this Labrynth player. Yeah, I feel I remember this Labrynth player kind of made some misplays, they jumped the gun on things a little bit too early. Okay. Thrust. Okay. Zombieworld. We have one fusion monster, which can use any 2 zombie monsters as material, which means if we have the zombie world out, we could fuse anything. Okay, they have different dimension ground, which makes sense. They can tell that we're a mill deck, 55 cards and so on. They do manage to destroy the field spell. That's another thing, is the field spell's really good against Lab, because they need to have a level 8 Fiend in order to do several of their things, recur resources, special summon cards, use the trap. Okay. So I was hoping... Nice. Okay. I was hoping to use Super Poly when they activated this card, but whatever. Because they activated... Alright, so let me back up a second. They activated different Dimension Ground, so they would be able to summon Lady from hand, because you have to have activated a trap that turn. Because they did that, when I Super Poly'd their cards, both their Lady and one of their ladies and their only Lovely have been banished. So unless they're running that like the Dogmatic and Punishment package and like Baphomet, like that Lovely is gone forever, which is outstanding. That was a big mistake on my part, which I think I was a little too excited about the fact that I banished their Lovely. I should have waited to summon an Eldlich until later. Like, because I did that, then Arius was able to summon herself, and you're going to see they're going to be able to get Chaos Angel with that Arius. Okay. Banish one of my Eldliches, that's fine. This play, what they want to do is to discard a card, summon out their Chaos Angel again, and it's not once per turn. It's only when it's special summoned that you get a second banish. So I'm just going to Karma Cannon, flip it over. I'm pretty sure they summoned from the extra deck a couple times, so I should finally be able to make Typhon. Okay, they summon out Lady. We make Typhon, it doesn't have enough attack, but at least would negate their effect. They managed to get rid of Typhon, but I don't really care that much. Getting Garura to give us a draw is almost more important. Yeah, I mean, now we have 5 cards in our back row. Non-targeting Destroy, non-targeting Banish. We just let them hit, it doesn't matter. I do let them get a search off, but I want to activate both of my traps this turn. They have a Max C, we don't care. Isn't that awesome to just say, oh, Max C, don't care? Yeah, so they have, the only card they searched out was, like, Dimension Ground or something, but we summon out Chaos Angel, yeah, Dimension Barrier. So we chain to that trap so the lady doesn't get a search, and we also destroy her. GG, goodbye, thank you very much, thanks for playing. Man, even though we're zipping through these duels, like, they took a long time. Like, it took a long time between duels. Okay, was this another Voiceless voice deck? Okay. Whew. Like, I was thinking about waiting until I get to Master 5 with this deck, but I'll show you my record. I'm pretty confident I would be able to get there in, like, a couple more hours, but I just started making mistakes, too, where, like, because I've been playing so much in a row, and it's kind of like, yeah, I just wanted to record it now. It's like, you get the idea. I'm pretty confident in this version of the deck to be able to do what it wants to. They destroy our Huaquero. We don't bother chaining. With Solemn Strike, we'll save that for something better. I think I could have negated this card when it dropped from the hand, but what I wanted to do was to negate this Omni-Negate ritual when I chain like our Marrella or something to it. Okay, they have the trap. They summon Dino Mode. I think that would have summoned out their ritual again or something. Okay, destroy another card. We could just chain a Marrella. See how they're like destroying all of our cards and we just don't care at all? We're like, okay, well, just activate it now. Okay, they summon that. So we do get a draw off of that. Nice. They can't kill us, so we'll just take it. We want them to set as many cards as possible. In this case, they set 3 cards. And this card has an effect during the end phase. So when they say they want to end their main phase, which means that they have no more cards they want to set, we're just going to send Elemental Burst, blow up their entire field. They do have an effect that allows them to summon out Ceravis, but he still gets destroyed. And now we have our engine going. Oh, poor guy. Yeah, I mean, people rage quit when they lose to that, which is nice because, you know, if you're playing like something like Branded, a lot of times if they don't have an Ash Blossom and you activate Branded Fusion, they'll also just surrender. So it's nice that we have something like that. All right, last duel versus Yubel. Are you the belle of the ball? Yubel of the ball? Okay. All right. Going second against Yubel. Let's see how this works. We do have a Prosperity, which should be solid. Okay. Activate Nightmare Pain, destroy card. Okay. Summon, summon. Yeah, I think as I'm playing this more, Samsara Lotus seems like a really important spot to stop them at. It's like if you can't stop that, you just kind of have to let them do everything and hope that you draw into like a rollback, or sorry, into an evenly matched. Yeah, the Unchained package actually has it gets them a lot of value. Like they have obviously this like link with your opponent card, but they also have this non-targeting, this targeting destroy, which if we hit them with an evenly match, they can use to recover a bit. All right, Pot of Prosperity. Ash Blossom? Nope. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to grab a Super Poly because I can discard my rollback. Instead of activating it now, I just like let them randomly hit a card. In this case, they hit Leanchoilia, which, you know, is too bad, but Leanchoilia is more like a, you know, kind of a going second card after you activated a grass or something. Nightmare Phoenix, I don't want them to destroy a card. Goodbye. Okay, summon out. Destroy. So we're running this card, which if they have one Yubel monster, we could use with all the rest of their cards. Instead, we just make a Garura, though, if they were about to make like an Nexus code or something, and that wouldn't have been able to fuse anymore. Summon out the Leanchoilia. Summon out an Eldlich. Okay. Ooh, Zombieworld. I hope we get another Okay, destroy, destroy, destroy. Rollback. Oh, we could just do that. Rollback, copy, Eldlixir, summon out Doomking. They were so dead. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now let's review the deck list. Overall, I think it's a very fun deck. And you could probably take this pretty high. It wouldn't surprise me if you could get to Master 1 with this. I'm going to try something else to climb the rest of the way to Master 5, but I'm getting off tangent here. Deck list. The Doomking package is basically the Doomking himself plus Necroworld Banshee. She can banish herself from the field or grave to set a Zombieworld. Zombieworld turns everyone into zombies, which means that anytime they activate a monster effect on the field or in the grave, then he can chain to negate that effect or to banish a card from the field or the graveyard. And he can do both each turn, so it's like he's like a better version of Baronne de Fleur because it's 2 interruptions per turn instead of 1. You can get removal, which is non-targeting instead of targeting. It's a banish instead of a destroy. And every turn it comes back from the grave because as long as there's a field spell, then then he can summon himself out. So that's a lovely package. If you mill a Necroworld Banshee and a Doomking to the grave, then you've got your whole setup. I have 2 Zombie Worlds because I don't want to have 3. It doesn't do much on its own. But I want to have more than 1 because I don't want to mill a bunch of cards from... I don't want to risk milling my 1 copy of Zombie World, you know what I mean? Okay. Additionally, another important feature of the Zombieworld Package are 3 copies of Super Polymerization. You discard a card, you fuse with your opponent. Obviously, Garura and Muddragon are the most common ones because 2 monsters with the same attribute and different types, or the same type, can be fused into almost anything. There's a ton of dark decks right now: Labrynth, Yubel, Branded, and so on. They're all dark, so Starving Venom Fusion Dragon is also really big. And with Necro Dragon Nethersoul, if they have any 2 monsters on the field, effect monsters, non-effect monsters, because Zombie World turns everyone into zombies, you can always get rid of 2 of their monsters, unless they specifically say they can't be used as fusion material. I'm also running as a 5th Super Poly target this guy, which the Loving Defender, because it could use an infinite number of effect monsters on the field as long as one of them is a Yubel monster. You know, I played against a decent number of Yubel decks you just saw, so like I could have activated this to get rid of their entire field, and because it's so high impact, it's probably still worth running. But like even when you're up against Yubel, like the fusion that they have, that they summon out by, hold on, let me just show it real quick. Yeah, this guy, it cannot be used as fusion material. So if they make this guy, which a lot of times they'll do right before they like go to battle phase, like you can't use them as material for this, the Loving Defender. So I'm not totally sure if this is worth it. You might consider putting something else in your extra deck instead, like a 2nd copy of Typhon or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's the Zombie World package. It's like a minor floodgate against Labrynth. They can't recycle their traps and things against, or they can't activate some of their traps in grave either against Yubel. They have a number of effects that require them to be able to special summon a fiend monster. They can't do it anymore under this. Against, oh my gosh, what is the deck? Tearlements, they have a hard time fusing because a lot of times they require an aqua as material. So there's a decent number of decks that this hits, but it isn't like a game-winning floodgate on its own. Otherwise, we would be using it a lot more, and a lot of other people would as well. But it's a solid package, and I like it. Rest of the deck, Feather Duster is a solid way to get a ton of advantage, and it's something you can grab off of Thrust. Foolish Burial, I had originally had this be Triple Tactics Talents, but I just had that one duel where I could never activate it. I was like, I need to get rid of this. Get out of here. Get out of my face. And this actually can get you a lot of value if you have too many of your traps, like Rollback, Elemental Burst, that you just want to get in your grave. You can just Foolish Burial, send an Eldlich to grave, and then he can summon himself out using that one card you want as material. Otherwise, it just increases the consistency of your Zombie World package. You can send a Banshee to get the floodgate up and running, or if you already have Banshee, you can send the Doomking, so he's actually like coming out and getting special summoned. You saw in a lot of our duels, once we have the Doomking package out, like there's nothing they can do. It just is like way too much advantage. Especially because we have things like Elemental Burst, Torrential, and Karma Cannon that already kind of wipe your opponent out. So if we also have a way to recover tons of really big bodies that have lots of negates, then there's no way they can withstand our grind game. Reasoning, you could say this is the reason that we're running this deck. So with only 4 monsters in our whole deck, you're going to get a ton of value off of Reasoning, probably as much, if not more so, from Grass. And because it's not once per turn, you could open 2 of these, activate one, they hit you with an Ash Blossom, then you activate the other, and then you activate a Thrust to grab like a Karma Cannon or a Trap Trick or something. It's amazing. Like, a big part of this deck is that you can send a bunch of your cards to grave, and they get you value, or, you know, you could just set those cards directly from your hand, and they get a ton of value. Foolish Burial Goods, you use this to send an Elemental Burst or a Rollback or something. Occasionally you can send like an Eldlich card. Grass Looks Greener is amazing, sends like 15 or 20 cards from your deck to the grave, depending on how many cards your opponent has. This can like be game winning on its own. If you're going second and you resolve this, you send like an Evenly Matched or an Elemental Burst along with at least one rollback to grave, and you just annihilate your opponent. They're absolutely done for. We have the pot cards because they just give you more advantage than something like Traptantalizing Tune. You just play this and you draw 2 cards, or they ash it and the only thing you lost was your pot card. Pot of Extravagance, it's more of like to search out the specific card you need, but we have so many high impact cards like Super Polymerization, Grass Looks Greener, maybe even just like a Foolish Burial Goods to be able to send a rollback or something to grave. Like, it's definitely worthwhile, and it's just a way to increase our consistency. 3 copies of Thrust. Because we're running Reasoning, it's not as important in this deck because we have so many ways to already have milled, but it's a great backup tool. Going first, you can set a Trap Trick or a Karma Cannon. Going second, you can grab an Evenly Matched to evenly match them, or you can grab a Feather Duster, like whatever you need. It's fantastic. They can also activate monster effects during the draw phase, and it's still online, which makes it way better than Talents. 1 copy of Tune, just another way to get consistency. Because we're not running the Horus package or the Toy Box package or the Diabellstar package, all those things that we use to be able to get copies of Rollback and Elemental Burst out of our hand. Instead, we have Super Poly, which obviously requires a discard, and a Traptantalizing Tune, which can get a card out of our hand. So I think it's worthwhile in this version of the deck. That's kind of like my decision nexus of like whether to use Tune or not. Is like, how many other ways do I have to discard cards in a deck that likes to discard some cards? And if there's no other ways, then I think Tune is worth it. Okay, we talked about the Zombieworld package. Cursed Eldland. Okay, so like the whole Eldlich package in and of itself is obviously 2 of these guys. I was running a version with 3, like I was in my Toy Box deck, but in this version of the deck, Eldlich isn't a starter in the same way he was with Toy Box. So I would be able to send him... So having 2 is fine. If you have 3 copies in your hand or even 2 copies in your hand, then it just feels really bad. Cursed Eldland going first is okay because you get like extra discard fodder, but it's way better going second where you can add an Eldlich or something to hand. An Eldlich's hand effect allows you to target a card and send it to grave. Super Poly, we talked about. Called by the Grave, we have a lot of cards that we want to resolve. We don't want them to hit us with Ash Blossom. We have Reasoning, we have Grass, and so on. So I think Called by the Grave is totally worth it. It's up to your discretion. There also are a lot of monsters that have grave effects. Torrential Tribute is back. I keep taking it out and popping it back in. Maybe it's better to run it 2 or something. Just because there's a lot of decks that get value off of or are immune to being destroyed. So in general, I prefer a Karma Cannon, or if I'm going to destroy cards, I want to destroy their back row too with an Elemental Burst being copied by Rollback. Whatever. It's solid. Paleozoic Marrella, obviously you can use it to send an Elemental Burst and a Rollback or whatever you need to your grave. 3 copies, totally worth it. Elemental Burst, it's like one of my favorite cards. I resolve it so much, man. Like, it's like every other duel, it feels like. Like, a lot of times you have these gimmicky cards, like Witch's Strike. I ran it in my deck in like 10 duels and it never came up. Elemental Burst comes up like every other duel, if not more frequently. Like, it's a goated card, and it's not even like overpowered either. Like, there are other decks that run Destroy all cards your opponent controls. Like, until we get the trap that allows us to banish all cards our opponent controls by being good at math, like, I think this is fantastic. Okay, Paleozoic Leanchoilia. So this is a card that I'm trying out. It's interesting. It's a lot better in a going second deck, where like turn 1 your opponent does their thing, turn 2 you activate Grass or Reasoning, you mill a Rollback plus an Elemental Burst or an Evenly Matched or something, you use Rollback, and then you set this card, and then on turn 3 your opponent tries to recover, this card just grabs your rollback that's banished, puts it back into your grave, and all of a sudden you have a super powerful interruption again. It's not very good going first, though, because going first, you set a bunch of cards, your opponent starts doing stuff, you manage to mill like a rollback to grave, or maybe you already activated reasoning on your turn, and you use rollback. But then Leanchoilia is just like follow-up for the next turn, because even if you put your banished rollback back in the grave, you can only use one effect per turn. So it's an interesting card. I feel like it's probably the first card of the cutting block, though. Like, if I was to start removing cards, I'd probably drop both of these, maybe drop a Torrential. Alright, triple evenly matched. It's amazing, this format. Because not enough decks are susceptible to Witch's Strike, you know, not enough decks have Omni Negates, then that means evenly matched is probably our best going second board breaker. Trap Trick, we're running 3 copies just because of how unbelievably powerful Marrella and Torrential are. Or, sorry, and Karma Cannon are, being able to send a rollback or flip our opponent's entire field. Like, it's just one card can, like, turn your opponent's entire turn off. And not in the same way as, like, using Wabaku, which lets them still do stuff. It just is like, nope, you were halfway to your main phase 1, and now your entire turn is over. Goodbye. The rest of the Eldlich package, 3 copies of Scarlett Sanguine. This can obviously summon out your Eldlich, but it's actually really valuable to being able to get your Doomking package online. Like, if you already have an Eldlich on the field, you use this to summon out a Banshee who can grab your Zombieworld, or it can even summon out your Balderrock from the deck. So, like, it has good synergy with this Doomking package by being additional ways to summon everything out. Karma Cannon obviously is amazing, flips everything face down, gets rid of all their link monsters. They can't use the monsters that are flipped face down as like Link or Synchro or XYZ material. Amazing card. Karma Cannon, we've talked about this a lot, it's kind of what the heart of this deck. Like, if they start limiting Transaction Rollback, we're going to really feel it. But also, like, no decks really run Transaction Rollback other than something like this. Like, I don't think any of the decks on, like, the tier list run even more than like 1 copy of this. I don't know, I feel like they should. Solemn Strike is amazing, going first, going second, just like they summon a bunch of monsters at the same time, or they summon a monster with an Omni Negate. We don't care. Deleted. Skill Drain gives you tons of advantage. It's the best floodgate in the game. Going first, going second. And obviously our Eldlich engine, so 2 of these to get a non-targeting banish in the grave, 3 of these for non-targeting destruction on the field. Fantastic, would not change for anything. Extra deck. We already talked about the super poly targets. I feel like if you were going to cut a card from the extra deck, this is probably one of the first ones I would cut. The second is probably this Paleozoic Opabinia. Because we're running 5 Paleo cards, I thought it makes sense to run at least 1 Paleo monster. Like, it's a good idea. Basically, if you get a Marrella and a Leanchoilia, or 2 Marellas, 2 whatever, any 2 Paleo monsters on the field, you make this guy in like defense mode, you detach 1 material, and you can add like a Marrella from your deck to your hand, and you can activate Marrella from hand to send another Transaction Rollback and just blow your opponent up again. So I think it's an amazing card. For whatever reason, it's never come up in my duels. Maybe I need to focus more on trying to play into it, or maybe the few turns that I could have, I used one of my pot cards. I don't know. I think it has great synergy with this deck, so I'm still thinking this first card I would cut is this guy. Chaos Angel, you can make it really easily using a couple of these. He comes out unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects, banishes a card, GG. I brought back the trains, alright? I dropped them for a while, but there was one duel where I was like, oh man, if I had the trains instead, then I would win, which unfortunately is the way I am a lot. I'm very reactive. And also I find like I never use Dora, the card that I was like, I need to drop this to make more room for, you know? So like, yeah, I think they're worth it. You know, if you make this into this, then you have 8,000 damage to kill them. The duel that I wanted to make it, like they had 5 monsters that were all flipped face down because of Karma Cannon, and I had a chance to do this. And because it can attack a bunch of times during the battle phase, I could have just cleared their entire board using this guy. Whatever. Zeus, obviously, if you're going to have XYZ monsters, you have to run Zeus. Typhon comes up all the time. You just use any monster that you summon. You could like normal summon a Necroworld Banshee, and suddenly all their monsters with 3,000 or more attack are completely turned off. You can bounce non-targeting one of their cards back into the hand or deck. The Charmers don't matter as much because we're not running, like, we don't have any spellcasters, so we can't really run the Selene into Access Code Talker package, which is probably why I have room to run the, you know, the rail cannons. But also, like, the Charmers don't really do a ton either. Like, it's more of like if they have a specific super strong dark or light monster that you want to summon. SP Little Knight, very easy to make with our deck. Banish a card, goodbye. And obviously Blackluster Soldier, he comes up all the time. It's an amazing boss monster. He's just a lot of fun. It's an older boss monster, but he checks out. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I think that the Doomking package is solid, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'll probably be experimenting a bit more. A lot of folks in the comments are asking, okay, now that we've had some of these fun, interesting decks, what is your true Master 1 best possible Eldlich deck? Now, we don't care about the budget anymore. We care about doing the absolute most to win as quickly and easily as possible. I'm going to be working on that. All right. Maybe it's with the Toy Box package. Maybe it's with the Horus package. I don't know. We'll see. There have been a lot of new decks that have come out lately since my last like normal Master 1 build. So it'll be interesting to see what the true strongest definitive version of Eldlich is. In the meantime, though, I also am going to have a video on the Water and Wind event that's happening in a few days. I've got a very fun Paleozoic deck with a lot of Transaction Rollback, Elemental Burst shenanigans that should be a lot of fun. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.